You will agree with me that the party have gone through thick and thin. The party have fought battles, and we have come out very strong from those battles. When we started the struggle to liberate the country, Nigeria, given our resolve to fight for good leadership, to fight for a new Nigeria, to fight for a better country, we were not expecting that we'll get it on a platter of gold. We were not expecting that people will not fight us. We were not expecting that people will not go after us. Because if you look at history, all freedom fighters face one challenge or the others. Even Jesus Christ himself in the Bible, those he fought for were those who turned around to even fight him and even crucified him. And therefore, what is happening to Labour Party and to some of us is not unusual. Over time, it has happened. And that happened to a great leaders. But the good news is that the great leaders who overcome those temptations will definitely lead these people to the promised land. And I want to assure you today that under my leadership, we will lead the party and lead Peter Obi to the promised land. We will lead Nigerians to the promised land. Like I said before, it is not capturing power that matters, but what you do with power. If you capture power and you are unable to use power for the betterment of the people, then the power is useless. If you capture power, as at when you captured power, fuel was sold for 87 naira per liter, and today is sold for almost 700 naira per liter, then you have failed in the capture of power. If as at when you capture power, a bag of rice was sold for 8,500, and today is sold for 80,000 naira, then you have failed in the capture of power. If transportation was 5 naira from one location to another location, and today is 30 to 40 naira, then you have not captured power. I believe that power should be used for the betterment of the people and for the well-being of the vast majority of the people. And there is no doubt that this is in tandem with the vision and mission of the founding fathers of Nigeria. If you look at chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution, it captured the vision of the founding fathers of the country. And one of the provisions provides that security and welfare shall be the principal purpose of government. It went further to say that the national economy of the country must be managed in such a way as to give maximum benefits, maximum welfare to the people of the country. Today we have no welfare. Today we have no security. And this is the mission and vision of the founding fathers of our country. And therefore, those who have captured power can see that if the dreams of our heroes past, if the dream of our founding fathers cannot be met, then of course, capture of power have failed. Yes, sir. Having laid this foundation, gentlemen of the press, I will then go into my brief address. It is titled Triumphant Resumption of the National Working Committee, led by Barrister Julius Abu. I seize this opportunity to first appreciate God for saving my life after the National Convention of the party, when my house was gutted by fire. That incident has been described by people as a mysterious fire. Some have termed it as failed assassination attempts. Those who were in the house have ascribed the fire to so many other causes. But the bottom line here is that I give glory to God for sparing my life and the life of my family members. On behalf of the national leadership of our party, I appreciate our party members and supporters across the country who have once again asserted the principles of supremacy of political party. This principle, you will agree with me, no doubt, has been trampled upon by political leaders in other political parties. When we say that Labour Party is different, this is one aspect that makes the party to be different from all other political parties. In our party, organs like the National Working Committee, NEC, and the convention make decisions irrespective of the desires of political leaders of the party. I therefore want to appreciate all our supporters who stood by us during the National Convention and by so doing promoted the principle of party supremacy. We also seize this opportunity to appreciate the governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Otti, who supported the National Convention. It must be noted that all delegates from the states, including the deputy governor, commissioners, state legislators, advisors, and all other appointees who were delegates were present at that convention. I especially thank the Deputy Governor, Engineer Ikechukwu Emetu, for representing his boss and leading other members of the State Executive Council to the convention. We thank the Deputy Minority Whip of the House of Representatives, Honorable George Ozodinobi, who led the delegation of the National Assembly to the convention. We thank Honorable Chinetu Obika, Honorable Esiosa Iyawe, Honorable Murphy Omoruyi, Honorable Kochuku Tokere, Honorable Etana Bene Benedict, Honorable Professor Esinachi, and Honorable Matthew Nwogu. We also appreciate some of our State Assembly members from Enugu, Anambra, and Imo States who were present, including Honorable Clinton Amadi, the Deputy Minority Leader from Imo State House of Assembly. Special appreciation goes to most distinguished Senator Dr. Tony Woye, who never pretended about his support for the convention to be heard as planned. Even though he was not physically present due to national assignments, his impact was overwhelming. We are also using this opportunity to appreciate some obedient members who understood the issues clearly and supported the convention and its outcome. We appreciate our national leader, Peter Gregory Obi, who in one way or the other gave his support to the National Convention of the party. The position of Peter Obi is clearly understood. His situation is similar to a man who is married to about 4 wives and is expected to protect the interest of all the wives and the children thereof. Hence, we appreciate him for his thoughtfulness, his dedication, and his support for the party. Finally, Labour Party leadership highly appreciates the leadership of Trade Union Congress, TUC, led by my own brother, my comrade Festus Osifo. First, for refusing to join the Nigerian Labour Congress, NSC, to fight the party. Secondly, we appreciate him for not only supporting the National Convention, but for attending same by sending a high-level delegation to be part and parcel of that convention. There is no doubt that the Trade Union Congress, under the leadership of Usifo, has demonstrated patriotism, reasonableness, and matured leadership. Like the national leader of our party, Mr. Peter Obi, said, the National Convention has come and gone. It is therefore imperative for us to put our differences aside and collectively work in the interest of the party. And Nigerians who are currently suffering in the midst of plenty, it is very obvious that Nigerians are not finding it funny as a result of the harsh socio-economic conditions of the country. I must also put on record in this press conference and state clearly that I, Barrister Julius Abure, is not an enemy in the struggle for a new Nigeria. I have demonstrated this before, during and after the 2023 general election. I have provided selfless, fearless, and result-oriented leadership for our party since I assumed the leadership of our party in 2021. The Nigerian people have a common enemy, which I refer to as the ruling oligarchy in Nigeria. They have held the country captive and ensured that our common patrimony is stolen. For us, we feel that all the bickerings, all the fights, and attacks on the leadership of the party is absolutely unnecessary. More so that they are anchored on falsehoods, motivated by inordinate ambition and selfish interests. It is therefore in our collective interest to put all our energies and resources together and begin to fight our common enemy and reposition our party for better performance. We must create an enabling environment to capture power and use same for the betterment of our people. Consequently, I want to appeal to first my own brother, my friend, and my comrade, Joe Ajaero, President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, who we have worked together in the trenches over the years in the struggle for workers, to put aside whatever may be his grievances and let's work together in the interest of our people. Fighting the Labour Party at this time is uncalled for, unwarranted, especially at this time when the working people of Nigeria are suffering. As we speak today, minimum wage is still 30,000 naira per worker. There are unfair workers' practices by employers across the country. The inflation in Nigeria is unprecedented and has completely destroyed our minimum wage in the country. Unemployment and underemployment are unimaginable and unacceptable. The welfare of workers are swept under the carpet, and nobody talks about workers' welfare. So for us, we need to team up together in order to be able to fight for better working conditions for our people, fight for a government that will work for the people, a government that will harness our resources together and be able to channel our efforts, our resources, to provide better life for the people of Nigeria. We need not waste time or dissipate our collective energies in fighting ourselves over nothing. We need not fight ourselves. What are we fighting for? Fighting for nothing. I think that there's a bigger fight ahead. And I think we should team up together to fight the common enemy. Yes, sir. Except, of course, the fight is not for the people. Except the fight, of course, is to stop us from getting to the promised land. If the destination, if the mindset, if the thinking is the same, if the objective is the same, there's no need for the fight. Awolowo of blessed memory told us, the deep will certainly find the deep. If your mission, if your thinking is the same, the methodology may be different, but certainly we shall meet somewhere. Secondly, this is the first time Labour Party will be having a very successful outing in the political space in Nigeria. The first time. In the history of our party, today, we have in our kitty 35 House of Representative members. Seven senators. And several other members in the Houses of Assembly in various states in the country. I think we could consolidate on this and use what we have already to get what we want. I think we should not destroy the successes that we have already made. We should galvanize these successes together and use it to fight for what we want and where we want to be. I had thought that we can use our representation in the National Assembly currently to begin the fight for the cause of workers in Nigeria. Fight for the cause of Nigerians and see if we can get a better life for our people. It is on the basis of the foregoing that the current energy the NSC is dissipating, attempting to take over the leadership of the party, is unnecessary and will therefore will lead us to nowhere. I think we should learn from history that if you have tried the route before and it didn't work, it makes no sense going through that route. The NSC should learn from the Scandinavian countries such as Brazil, as well as UK and Australia, where the working people of those countries were able to capture power and provide welfare and alternative government policies that have enhanced the conditions of their people. In those countries, the labor movement is a very big resource. It's a very big resource to the Labour Party. Mobilization of members to the party and also capacity building for its members. All of these are available arsenals which can be deployed and used for the growth and development of our party. Thirdly, a good student of history who has tried a route for the first time and failed will rather avoid such a route. The NSC should appreciate the fact that cooperation with the Labour Party is better for both parties. Working together before, during, and shortly after the 2020 general election resulted in some of the gains in all sides, both the NLC, TUC, and LP. It is my appeal that working together is better. Similarly, I also want to appeal to our brothers in the obedient movement that they should be patient with the party. In order to be able, they should all be patient with the party, and for them to be able to learn the rudiments of the political dynamics in Nigeria, we feel very strongly that they should get closer to the party and learn from the party. It is also my appeal that they should also endeavor to find time to read the party constitution the Electoral Act and the 1999 Constitution of the party. This will enable them to make a well-informed opinion about the activities of the party. We are not in any way saying that the party is completely perfect. But whatever may be the imperfection, it is certainly not to the magnitude that is being magnified. We can actually deal with these imperfections, if there are any, without being destructive. I must say that a lot of people, particularly the ruling oligarchy, have no doubt also infiltrated the obedient movements. And they are currently striving to carry some innocent obedient along in derailing and unnecessarily criticizing the party in order to bring it to disrepute and pull it down. This is not to say, however, that some of the complaints are not germane. Part of these complaints are that a lot of obedients who want to belong to the party have not been fully absorbed. To this extent, I must state clearly that you will recall that the Labour Party went round the country at the height of our campaign to assimilate and make easy all those who wanted to be members of the party. And indeed, the structure of Labour Party is strong today because a lot of those who were in the obedient movement were used to consolidate the structure of the party. As we speak, a lot of obedients are ward chairmen of our party. A lot of obedients are in the local government executive of our party. A lot of obedients are in the state executive of our party. Even in the National Working Committee today, we have a lot of obedients who are being inside. Some obedient members have also complained that involving them into the party has been have been so difficult. To solve this problem, we have developed a membership registration application that will make registration in the party seamless and easy. The National Secretariat will be tweeting that app that will be available to all members of the party for them to revalidate their membership and also carry out their re-registration of the party. The app is such that once you click it, formalize your registration, it will domicile your registration at the ward level. It is our intention to be updating this membership registration every month at the ward level. It is our hope that this will put to an end all the complaints about issues of registration in the party. Directorate of Obedient Affairs. We have also resolved that in order to attend swiftly and quickly to most complaints of the obedience, we have decided to create a whole directorate dedicated to the obedient family. That directorate will have the following terms of reference. 1, to coordinate the registration of all members of the obedient family and integrate them fully into the structure of the party. Is diaspora participation in the affairs of the party who are obedient. Receive complaint and deal with same, and where they are unable to deal, refer such complaints to the leadership of the party. Coordinate collection of dues and donations to the party and ensure that all obedient are financial members of the party. Work closely with the national youth leader and their deputies, national women leaders and their deputies, and the National Organizing Secretary in order to create programs that will fully and effectively assimilate all of them as members of the party. The director and the assistants of this directorate will be announced by next week. And very visible, obedient members will be selected from among them to head this directorate. It has also become imperative for us to persuade our elected members in the House of Representatives and the Senate that it is not in our collective interest, that it is in our collective interest for us to work together. We would like to ensure that our lawmakers, we would like to ensure that we want to assure our lawmakers that their interests, that their well-being will be adequately protected. Just as we expect them to fulfill their own obligations to the party, because it takes two to tango. We also expect from our legislators mutual respect. We expect them to respect the leadership of the party, and we will in turn also defend them and protect their interests. We also expect that when we give directive, they should also be responsible enough to carry out the directive of the party, irrespective of what may be their pressure from the leadership of the National Assembly and from the executive. To whom much is given, much is expected. You will agree with me that we all lay down our lives to have what we have today, and we expect them to obey our directives, and above all, orchestrate, sit on the roof of the National Assembly, and speak for the people of Nigeria who voted for them. We expect that they must be ambassadors of those who have voted for them and defend them. We expect that they must respect the supremacy of the party. The party is supreme. And we expect every person in the party to respect the supremacy of the party. Peace and Reconciliation Committee. Having critically examined the events in the party and the seeming disagreement over the past few weeks, particularly before and after the National Convention of the party, we think that it is of importance to reconcile some agreed members in the party. To this extent, the Peace and Reconciliation Committee will soon be inaugurated. And the terms of reference of that committee are as follows: to hear complaints of agreed members, examine the issues raised, and carry out thorough investigation and consultation. Make recommendation to the leadership of the party. Electoral Reform Committee. We note that the Labour Party is a major victim of the electoral manipulation in Nigeria, arising from the 2023 general election. And being a major victim, we feel that we must pursue with vigor, we must pursue with all our strengths a holistic electoral reform in the country. We therefore want to announce the establishment of Labour Party Electoral Reform Committee to be chaired and headed by a scholar and a lawyer, Dr. Barrister Sam Amadi. Members of this committee will transverse Labour Party. We are going to bring in scholars, members, to bring them together in order to give us a working document that will form the basis of our pursuit of a holistic electoral reform in Nigeria. We believe that with the lessons we have learned from the 2023 general election and all other lessons we have learned in the past, we need an electoral system, we need electoral reform that will transform our electoral system, that will give vent to the yearning and aspirations of the people of Nigeria. All other members of this committee will be announced by next week, and I'm sure that we'll proceed immediately with the inauguration of that committee. Political Education Committee. Before and during the general election, we had this understanding that leadership alone was the major challenge of the country. Events have reshaped this understanding to mean that the followership is as guilty as the leadership. This indeed has reinforced the philosophy that defines leadership as a reflection of the people. Consequently, we need to mind the minds of our followers and members. There is therefore the need to reorientate the people and for the people to begin to change their attitude and behaviors. There is also the need for the people to be a catalyst for growth and development of our people. Citizens' participation is key to a virile democracy and good governance in any country. To this extent, Labour Party will constantly invest in political education of its members, of its officers, and indeed, we shall commence vigorously political education of the people of Nigeria. This underscores the importance of having a very strong and articulate political education committee that will assist the party in mobilizing and conscientizing the people and prepare them for citizens' engagement in Nigeria. The chairman and members of this political education committee will be announced in due course and probably by next week too, after due consultation with those we want to make the head and other members of this committee. Terms of reference. Pursue the realization of Labour Party leadership institutes that will be a resource center for capacity building for members of the party and the general public. 2, to carry out enlightenment campaign and education of the people on citizenship rights, Labour Party's principles, and its ideology, amongst others, in order to reshape and mobilize the people for effective citizenship participation and engagement in the political space of Nigeria. To train and retrain agents who will be involved in manning our polling booths during election. Labour Party believes strongly, learning from the 2023 general election, that we must begin to train our agents from now. Winning election and losing election begins with agents. And if you don't get your agents right, you would have also lost the election. And so because we consider this as very important to us, we want to begin the profiling of our agents. We want to begin the process of identifying them, profiling them, and begin the training of them so that we can sufficiently indoctrinate them before 2027 general election so that they can defend our mandate and defend our votes. To recommend and mobilize funds, they are also giving the mandate to recommend and mobilize funds to carry out its activities or all other ancillary assignments that may be assigned to them by the national leadership of our party. I want to conclude this address or this press briefing by once more appreciating the gentlemen of the press for finding time to be part of this engagement. And I want to assure you that this country is for all of us. And I expect that we should all play our role one way or the other. Wherever you find yourself, be a good ambassador. Discharge your duties with a sense of responsibility. Discharge your duty with a sense of responsibility. Discharge your duty with a sense of patriotism. For those of you who are members of the press, you have the responsibility to reshape the opinion and perception of our people. And much is being expected from the media. I think that we must go back to the good old days where we have investigative journalism. It's not just what you are told by persons. Somebody comes to you and say, I'm the national chairman of Labour Party, and you put the person on air. Instead of going to check INEC websites, you will fail to ask the person which convention brought him to the office. You fail to raise questions, and when you know that they are fake, I think these are some of the challenges that we have in the country. So for those of you and for those of us, I think we all have a collective responsibility wherever we find ourselves to perform our duties in patriotism so that the country can be a better place. Leadership is not only the problem. Followership is also the problem. Because in your own office, you have not displayed patriotism. In your own office, where you are saddled with your responsibility in your micro level, you have also exhibited the characteristics that those on top are also exhibiting. So the responsibility to change the country is not the responsibility of leaders alone. It's also our responsibility. You find a situation where people will go to the voting center. You know that this man is a thief. He's the man that has stolen your constituency project money. He's the man that has stolen your money. You collect 5,000 from the man and vote for him. We all have that responsibility of patriotism to change ourselves and be patriotic in building our nation. Thank you, and God bless you.
We have decided for Labour Party.